Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of Draft to Glory Goon Squad, and today, well, we prepare for the next season, but that also means going through the off-season again, and despite there being a couple of days in between episodes, I'm still not sure as to whether or not we're going to be able to solve our little problem here of absolutely horrific team chemistry. So in the meantime, in the meantime wasn't the right word to use there. I don't know what I'm going for. I'm nervous for how this episode's going to go, is what I'm saying. But in the meantime, I guess we'll try our best, is what I am trying to say. We'll find out who we can keep. Of course, we're going to hand out the best contracts we possibly can. If you will remember from other series this year, no longer can you change, with Peters, for example here. If he wants a two-way deal, I'm not allowed to change it to a one-way and offer him a max contract. The game will just reset it to the max two-way deal. That was one of the ways that we were able to keep everything kind of going in previous games, or in NHL 17 at the very least. And since that's not an option, we're having a little bit of trouble. Luke Shen wants 3 years. I won't give him 3 years, but I will give him 1 year with a $15 million contract, and we'll hope he accepts that. Dennis Weidman also wants a one-way deal. You're insane, but we'll give it to him, and we'll give him about, I don't know, maybe $5 million or so. I don't want to hand too much money to one individual aside from Luke Shen, because odds are I am going to have to try and bring in some players that are a little bit better than what we were thinking we were going to end up with. Of course, for example, in the not the expansion draft, in the fantasy draft, to begin with, we tried to take the lowest overall players. We are going to have to take some, mid to high level 70 overall players to try and make this team better. And I think that'll be our way out of this. A few of you have agreed in the comments, so we'll see if that tactic works. The one problem is, as we have witnessed, is that some players aren't exactly all that excited about sticking around on this team at this point. And if we have to let certain players go, the team morale is going to drop even further. So it is a delicate situation that we have on our hands. We have a bunch of unsigned players as well, of course, that we just drafted, including Nolan Foote. For the moment, we're going to leave them unsigned just because of the amount of players that we're going to be looking at potentially bringing in here. So Cedric Paquette will give him just over 3.5. David Brohl, thankfully, doesn't have the audacity to look for a one-way deal. And I think that's everybody it is. All right, cool. So we're at 45 contracts. We might bring in a couple of unsigned players. But like I mentioned, I also want to bring in some free agents. The problem is, it's a guarantee. At least a couple of people, if not the majority, will reject. Case in point, with Peters, even though we, offered him the max deal, he rejected. Racine rejected. David Brohl's back. PL3 rejected. Turgeon's gone. Johnson accepted. You know what? I'm just going to slowly go through this. Actually, you know what? More guys are accepting deals than I expected. You know what? That actually wasn't too bad. All right, we're still going to lose some players, but if anything, that's a good thing for us because we're going to look to bring in free agents that'll hopefully sign. So who is leaving the team is the question. So Wachow, sad day, we're losing Wachow, Oleg Yavenko, Tony Turgeon, and PL3 have all refused to come back, as have Racine and Peters. There weren't any RFAs that rejected. So for unsigned players here, we are going to have room for Mikola now. The question is, do we leave him as an unsigned player? I don't think we... I'm going to for now. Let's see what this team looks like. There's still a good chance that those players can progress if they are unsigned. Right now, we need to focus more on getting that team chemistry up, the locker room chemistry up, before we can worry about, improving this team or getting our prospects playing time. It's absolutely a different strategy than what we went with in NHL 17 with the original draft glory. But it's a learning curve. My God, Erik Karlsson, Tyler Seguin are both free agents. Pavelski, Wheeler, and Duchesne as well. Damn. So, let's focus here on, you know what, all skaters actually works. Let's go physical category, of course. We'll still try to stick with the theme. But now we're going to look for someone like Matt Martin rather than a Tom Sestito. Maybe that'll help us be a little bit better. And maybe that can repair the locker room chemistry a little bit. That's one thing I didn't really factor into this series before we started, is just how different of a game this is in certain ways. We'll look to bring in Kyle Clifford. You know, I'm actually going to hand Kyle Clifford one of those max deals, just because we had like $30 million in cap space. And we'll try to sign Delorier as well. For him, I'm thinking, let's see. We have $36 million. I've sent out a $3 million offer. We'll offer him like a $2 million contract or so. And then that way, we could hand out two $15 million contracts if we felt the need to. McElrath might be another guy we're signing. Now, Blake Wheeler would be interesting. He might make the team a little... Well, then again, I don't even know if Blake Wheeler could help lead this team to victory. You know? No matter how good he is, I don't know if he could pull it off. But looking at players like McElrath, Patrick Maroon even, Adam McQuaid, Dalton Prout, Zach Sanford, all guys that we could send offer to. We've sent out three contract offers to begin with, and we have what, 41? Should be 41, maybe 40 contracts at the moment. Am I correct? 39. Damn. All right. Oh, that's right, because we lost two goalies, not one. Okay. So yeah, let's send out more offers, I suppose, and we'll still look to bring in better players just to try and help solve this issue. The good thing is, much like in the last episode, we pretty much breezed through the season sim. We've sent out 3 offers to forward so far, so let's look to improve the defense. We're going to go for Adam McQuaid. He'll actually be the first one that I send an offer to. And you know what? Is it Bruins bias? A little bit. I'm so tempted to give him just like a massive contract, but I think we'll give him like $5 million. That's not too bad. Let's see, who else do we have here? Alexei Emelin? Sure, why not? Let's bring him in. 1-year deals only, just because. It's a little bit risky, but I know we're also going to have to change some numbers around. We'll go $4 million for him. From there, Patrick Nemeth. Why not? Give him like a $2 million deal. So that is 3 forwards, 3 defensemen, bringing us up to 45 contracts. While I'd still like to send out other offers, we wouldn't be able to bring in any rookies if we continue on this pace. You know what, maybe 1 more defenseman and 1 more forward. So Dalton Prout is going to be the next one that we bring in. Try to sign him up for $2 million. And the last forward is going to be potentially Patrick Maroon. Lawson Krause is there. Marcus Foligno. I'm going to go for Foligno. Just because. I don't know. I feel like I probably should bring in Patrick Maroon, and I know you guys won't care, but again, I'm trying to keep this as more of a challenge. But it's tough, you know. This part of the series at the moment wasn't planned. Very much unexpected to have to go down this road. So let's see here. Not to mention, I'm recording this as a blizzard is underway. So I'm also quite anxious that I might, like in the middle of this recording, lose power, which would be a disaster for me, let me tell you. The good thing is Patrick Nemeth accepted. Never mind, that changed everything. Nemeth, McQuaid, Prout, Foligno rejected, all right? Clifford's here, Matt Martin, Delorier, Emelin. Holy hell, we needed that. Wow, did we need them to accept those deals. That is perfect for us. All right. It might be worth, we have $9.9 million left, 46 contracts. Do I bring, you know what? I think I have to bring in a goalie. That's the other thing I was considering. We currently have 3 goalies signed. So we could drop Anun. Justice, I looked it up too. Someone, I think it was Paulie, sent me the Elite Prospects page, and I listened to how to pronounce his name. I think it's Annunen, and that's what we're going with for now. I'm just going to call him Justice. Justice, CC, and DeChain can be the AHL setup. I'm going to bring in 2 half-decent NHL goalies. I don't want to. It's not my preferred way to go for this series, but we have to. We're still going to be the worst team in the league. Make no mistake. We are going to eclipse maybe 10, 12 wins, if that. But, like I mentioned, the series is going to play out differently than we expected it to. So when it comes to goalies, who do we want to go after? Maybe Ryan Miller, since he's 38? Do I want to get a goalie who's that good? Let's see. Do we have like a giant of a goalie? I know Mike Smith was 6'4". Do we have like a giant of a goalie here? Eddie Lack, 6'4". Oscar Dansk. Yeah, Jared Coro, 6'5". And that's about it when it comes. Anders Lindback. There we go. Could go with Jared Coro and Anders Lindback. Or we just go with an outright starter in Ryan Miller. Right now, the decision is between trying to make sure we're actually not that great and still trying to remember that, hey, we need to focus here. So you know what? God, I'm going with Coro. Nope, 2-way deal. Shit, I should have seen that coming. All right, screw it. Let's sign. You know what? Mike Smith. Well, not that Ryan Miller isn't used to being on bad teams. Mike Smith, though, is very much used to being on bad teams. So why not bring him on to another one? No disrespect to Coyotes fans and now Flames fans and Stars fans. He was in Dallas, wasn't he? He was in like Dallas and one other team too. I can't remember. He's been all over the place. Point being, we'll sign him. And, I think we will go for Coro. Yeah, let's go for Jared Coro. Or we spend a little bit more money and get somebody like Chad Johnson. One of the best Bruins backups in recent memory. Let's see if we can sign Chad Johnson. So the goaltending will actually be half decent. Which is a damn shame, but again, we are in dire straits here. We have no choice but to take this approach. It's not what I wanted to do. It's not how this series is supposed to play out. You get that at this point. I'm trying to just, I know I'm beating a dead horse here with most of you, but some of you, I still love you, but some of you, you almost, it's like, immediately it's like, no, your team has to be good. It's like, that's not the point of this series. The point of this was to be a challenge. I still feel like it is going to be a challenge despite signing better goaltenders. Anyway, let's move on to the beginning of next season. Perhaps we'll see what the rosters look like, and then we'll debate as to whether or not, I'll debate. There's no way, unless this were to be a 14-minute episode or whatever it's been at this point, there's no way to get your input. You know what I'm saying? We'll weigh the positives and the negatives to signing someone like Nolan Foote. We might not. I don't know. Anyway, how's your day? How are you? Things going well? Probably not for most of you. Back to school and such this week. Fun stuff. Real fun stuff. Can you tell I just don't have much to talk about, but also I can't really get into like a conversation that's actually going to take a while because this is going to be done within like the next 10 seconds. So there's really no point to do that. So yeah, otherwise I could just sit here and talk about the same thing in regards to how this series was supposed to go. And in fairness, there's about 12 seconds, but there we go. All right. So let's see how we can set up this team. Our locker room chemistry is still garbage, as you'd expect, but maybe we can recover. So we got Smith and Johnson. Defense is McQuaid, Yamelin, Nemeth, Prout, Shen, and Sherratt. Right. So we'll send down the other three. Wow, we have a lot of defensemen signed for the AHL. Okay, we'll have to pay attention to that. And for forwards, we have our guys. All right. Well, it's not quite how we wanted to set it up, of course, but it should get the job done. So our main focus, more than anything, will be with the AHL, because we don't have to care about any of these players that are signed at the NHL level. The NHL for us this season is an afterthought. It's more of who is playing at the AHL level. So we have Justice in goal. So this should be a good season for him. Defensively, is there anybody scratched that shouldn't be? And there is that trio. First up is Dalton Galley, who needs to get put back into the lineup. Harrison Ruop. You also need to take a seat, but were there any other prospects? Is this guy ours? I mean, defensive D man. No, he's not, is he? It's weird how it says years remaining, though. Huh. Alright, so that was it, aside from Alcock. So Kevin Ball, I guess, is still junior eligible. So that's interesting. We have Galley. We have our two righties here. Let's go. Basically, I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? I do want to give Dalton Galley as much time as possible. Same with Alcock there. So there we go. That'll be our setup on defense this season. And then on offense, Reginald Chung is in the lineup. But is there anybody scratched that we don't want to be out of the lineup? Just double checking over the names here. See, we have Gerard, Curtis, and that is it. All right, cool. So when it comes to what players we want in the lineup, the only forward we have to worry about right now is Reginald Chung, and we'll give him top line time, which means the majority of our prospects are either unsigned or currently in junior. We'll double check. Actually, let's go to the trade player option really quick, or proposed trade. We'll clear out the trading block. We'll take a look at the scouting. Hopefully we get lucky with a power forward in the top 5. So, of course, Nolan Foote is there, 57 overall. Roberts and McDonald are also back in junior. All right. Now, I do wonder, would it be worth signing Nolan Foote and then just having him play in junior so he has a little CHL logo there? Or is it better to just leave him unsigned? I guess we'll keep an eye out on that. We don't have Lyson, or Zanetti signed either. So with the lack of players that we have to care about, basically, for this season, I mean, we're just going to breeze through and hope for the best. As I've said, that main focus is our locker room chemistry. So let's clear out the trade blocks so that we don't get bothered by offers that we don't want. As far as captaincy goes, doesn't matter. I'm certainly not going to risk pissing off certain players. I mean, the morale system, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn I just outright turned it off, but you can't turn off locker room chemistry. And that's what's killing us, and that I didn't prepare for. But obviously, like the morale meetings or anything like that, the team meetings, that's not a thing. So, I mean, even when we go to morale here, and I mean, there will be some negatives, but I don't know, maybe I didn't turn off the morale system, and that could be a critical factor when it comes to this series. We'll find out. I mean, it would certainly suck if we had to start this over. But let's not think in such a negative, half glass empty light. Let's take a look at the draft class, see who's available for us, and there is indeed a power forward in the top 5. Christopher Aston could be a great pickup for us. There's another one in the top 10, Jay Graves. All right, so WHL and WHL. All right. Anybody else here? Anybody else? Couple of goalies. Obviously, though, we'd be looking at the power forward. There's another one in Ralph Bochenski. Is he also WHL? Yes, he is. Surprise, surprise. So we're going to end up with somebody. No doubt that we're going to end up with a helpful player one way or another. I guess my question is second round. What are we looking at? Jason Fiddler could work. Luke Petrovic, the Italian. All right. Hines. Could be another decent addition. We do have another power forward in David Beagle. 6'5" defensive D-man, Edward Emery. This could be a decent little draft for us. Now, we're still, going to have the challenge of having to make the most of our selections, of course. We can't completely botch it and, miss out on a medium elite in, the third round when they're, say we end up taking, a medium top 9 and then a, medium elite power forward, 79 overall in the fourth round somehow goes off the board. That would be devastating. So there is still that pressure to find success in the draft. But there we go. We are fairly well set up for this season, so let's do it. We'll keep an eye out on the locker room chemistry throughout the season. Hopefully our unsigned prospects can improve, and of course those in junior as well. And we'll also be keeping an eye on Alcock and Galley down in the AHL. Reggie Chung, Big Reg, as well. So, the unfortunate thing at this point in time is what the hell do I have to talk about as we make our way through this season? People expect me to provide that top-notch rambling that only I can. But I'm not sure what there is to talk about, as Chad Johnson goes down to a groin injury immediately. Well, that's just super, isn't it? We'll call up DeChain, because why not? Anuin is already up 2 overall points. I saw that, so that's pretty nice. And actually, we're good to go. We don't even have to fix the AHL lines. All right, not too shabby. We at least have a point this season. I guess I'm all right with that. I'm not all right with these injuries, though. That is a little bit troublesome. Who are we going to call up here in return? I don't know, but I do see that some overalls are higher than they were. We'll call up Girard. He's not in the AHL lines at the moment. He's not in the AHL lineup, I should say. Even though he doesn't fit the Goon mentality at this point, doesn't really matter, does it? So, let's see. We get our first win of the year. I think we picked up, did we play Philly twice and get points? 3 out of 4 points? How the hell did that happen? Defense, we'll go 3 weeks. And indeed, we have 3 points against the Flyers so far this year. Philly, you should be ashamed of yourselves. How dare you give up 3 points to us? But funny, hey, we beat Buffalo too. So we have 2 wins already this season. So case in point, we're still going to be miserable. But maybe our players won't be as miserable. Because we will have some contracts coming up soon. Despite the fact that they're RFAs, and I do feel confident that we can re-sign those RFAs, I just can't help but worry about the future. So we'll just go best lines again. Goaltending. I guess I'm going to go 2 weeks in the goaltending. Of course, we're focusing right now on the CHL, and that is going to be the focus for the first couple of scouting attempts here. After this, though, we'll figure it out as Mike Smith goes down. Holy hell, I know we're playing a physical style, boys, but damn. Can we stay healthy? I mean, the plus side is I don't have to worry about fixing the lineup. My God, let me just go best lines here. I think we have a defenseman probably playing forward at this point. I'm not entirely sure. As we'll move over to the OHL. I'm going to go, I think that's the trend I'm going to keep. 6, 3, and then 2. So 6 weeks on the forwards, 3 weeks on defensemen, and 2 weeks for the goaltending. We are 2, 16, and 4. We'll go with, unfortunately, with the AHL lineup, I have to make sure I edit it myself. Dalton Prout is hurt again, my God. Oh, so let's see. Forwards. All right, we got to call up another defenseman here. And let's call up Hughes, because he's not playing. You will notice, though, some of these overalls are bouncing back, and that is a tremendous sign as we progress throughout this season. So, there we go. AHL's fine, or NHL's fine. AHL is also looking okay. We're going to stop it here as we get an overtime win over the Ottawa Senators. So, we are, we're doing all right. Double digits in points. Hooray for us. Well, actually, we have 10 points this season, right? Hey, basic math. We got it down. Ryan Reeves, 14 points in 24 games. 47 on team locker room chemistry. That is what I like to see. His strategy is paying off, at least a little bit. Down in the AHL, though. Let's see. Let's sort out by younger players here. Mikkola hasn't improved. Roberts and McDonald haven't improved. Alcock hasn't improved. Kevin Ball is actually down an overall point. Zanetti has at least improved in some stats without being signed, so that's good. Nolan Foote is improving, at least a little bit. Annunen is doing all right. Chung hasn't really improved. Tokarski and Lyson have improved. Dalton Galley continues to get better. So we'll still keep an eye out on Mikkola, Roberts, and McDonald in particular. Although there's not really much we can do for Roberts and McDonald since they can't be sent down to the AHL. So we are still in a bit of a tough spot. But we're looking all right. We're looking good. Now, like I said, I just got to make sure once we get to the draft in this episode that I don't completely screw it up. Spoiler alert, I probably will. I probably will. But hey, confidence, right? Optimism. Yeah. As I take a swig of Arnold Palmer, there is no optimism here, though. My God, the amount of injuries. Bailey is a somewhat physical player. Not really. I'm actually going to decline that. Going to decline that. We're doing all right as long as the number keeps going up. And if these injuries could stop, that would be tremendous. So we have to call up another forward. And we could actually send down Tommy Hughes, I think. I don't even have to call up another forward. Actually, just put Dalton Prout back into the lineup. So let's do that. We'll play a defenseman with Hughes at forward. And, of course, Prout was pissed off about missing a game or two, which, boo-hoo, suck it up, Buttercup. We got games to lose. And you're a very big part of that, whether you're playing in the games or not. Pavel Kusal, I don't care that he's out of the lineup. It doesn't matter whatsoever. We'll go best lines again now that Dalton Prout is back to 100%. We beat the St. Louis Blues 4-2. David Brohl is back. And this team is not picking up momentum. Mike Smith is out again. Holy hell. What is going on? The better the team, the more injuries, apparently. So that's tremendous. So we lose pretty much every game, which you would expect. 4-24-5. I mean, so despite getting some better players, we are still garbage, which you would have expected. Ben Sherratt, not a happy camper. But that's all right. Now he's feeling better. So I guess the main thing here is I'm actually going to stop the sim. I want to double check on our prospects again and whether or not they're progressing. So we have 13 points this year. Look out. And we're down to 39 locker room chemistry. Are there any players? You know what? I'm definitely I've pretty much decided I'm not going to bring in any of our unsigned free agents. Let's see if there are any players we can bring in to help make this team even better. So for forwards, best overall guy here, you got a 74 in press. Let's actually just look for one forward and one defenseman. Marcus Foligno declined previously. Well, let's see if he'll accept that offer. And Cal Clutterbuck. Is Cal Clutterbuck willing to sign? We have $6 million in cap space. So I'm going to hand him like a $3 million deal. Close to it at least. 2.9. There you go. And for defense, we'll try to bring in one more guy. Who's it going to be? We have a couple of 76s. Anybody else? 75, 75, 76, 75. Jesus. 78. Radko Gudas. Well, there you go. And we'll look to sign him up for like 1.4 for this season only, at least to start. So we'll try to bring in some reinforcements. This will piss off some players, which means this could absolutely backfire on me by bringing in these players and sending others down or having them sit, be a healthy scratch. This could backfire, but we're going for it. We'll see what happens. So let's go defense again for 3 weeks. Foligno accepted this time, as did Gudas. Unfortunately, Cal Clutterbuck could not accept. Right. So, let's go back to edit lines, or actually roster moves. I can't help but wonder now. I saw our locker room chemistry was at a 38. I can't help but wonder now whether or not, we are starting to slip a little bit here, aren't we? I can't help but wonder whether or not, I can only assume I didn't turn morale fully off, which could be the deciding factor for this series. We might have to, if I didn't turn it off, we might have to restart to actually make this possible. Because with morale on, if it is, which it appears to be, there are just way, way too many complications that we are currently suffering from. So let's put Chung back up on the top pairing. And then on defense, unfortunately, Tommy Hughes is going to have to get pissed as we take him out for Dalton Galley. And Harrison Ruop is out for Jack Alcock. Still, perhaps, the best name on this team? It's up there at least. Ho. Puns and double entendres. Anyway, can you tell I'm getting slightly annoyed by the amount of injuries? Can you tell? Combine that with the pressure of making sure this series can actually continue, with knowing that there's a blizzard outside, as well as being tired because I had to go to bed at like 8 and wake up at 2 in the morning to watch New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom, which was great, by the way. Yeah, I'm just a mess today. That's the only way to put it. I am just a mess today, but damn it, we're making the most of it. We just need to get through this season. I would prefer to keep seeing the morale go up of certain players, which, you can pretty much guarantee now that I didn't turn off morale, which is just, it's just the worst. But what can you do? Actually, as far as turning off morale completely, I don't even know if you can. I'm trying to remember what options are there at the start, and I'm drawing a blank while sitting here trying to kill time. But it's all good. I don't care about getting that guy back into the AHL lineup. It's all well and good. We have 5 wins. We might as well have brought in Blake Wheeler if he had been willing. And we might end up doing that next offseason. If there's someone like Blake Wheeler available, just screw it, pick him up and do what we can. Although now I am thinking about the future of this series. And will we be able to keep these players that we are drafting? Because if they don't develop and our team is just getting, destroyed every damn week, that could be a little bit of a problem and might lead to some players not wanting to stick around for all that long. It is going to be, this series is going to be essentially just me walking on a very fine line, and one little slip and this series is going to just fall apart. So let's hope that doesn't happen, right? Let's hope we can make it through. And that EA, with their franchise mode changes, haven't ruined my most popular series idea. That would be nice to not, to not have to worry about, whether or not I can actually run Draft to Glory anymore. It'd be nice to just be like, yeah, I can. No problem. No questions asked. We're in March. We're almost done with this season. We're a little bit over a half an hour into this episode. We're making good time. Feeling good. We're making good time to the point where we might be able to set up the team for next season as I prefer to. I prefer to go from preseason to preseason rather than off-season to off-season. But depending on what the locker room chemistry situation ends up being, I might have to save the off-season for next episode because we might have to bring in, those Blake Wheeler types that are actually on the market. I don't know what's more impressive, by the way. 8 wins for the Ducks or 17 for the San Diego Gulls. Impressive or shocking? Feel free to pick between whatever word. I think both would apply in a similar way. All right, so let's go goaltending for 2 weeks in the queue, and then pretty much, I think I'm going to go just 1 week for every other league, forwards and defense. Probably not goaltending, as Alexei Yamelin is back. Can we get a win against St. Louis? So many injuries. No, we cannot, but we do get an overtime loss to end the season at 8-63-11. Moment of truth here as far as locker room chemistry goes. Is it over a 40? It's not. It's at a 25. Oh, boy. All right. That's not good. Not good. As far as the progress reports go, when it comes to younger players, let's search in the system here. Mikkola improved. Mason Primo improved by quite a bit. So there you go. We do know now for a fact that players do actually improve, like they say. Josh Aucoin improved by a point. Kevin Ball went up by a point. Anderson McDonald up by 2. Nolan Foote up by 5. 2-point improvement for Lyson. 1-point improvement for Chung. 4-point improvement for Abraham Zanetti. 2 for Tokarski. 5 for Connor Roberts. Alcock went up by 1, and Justice went up by 1 as well. Gerard, we don't have to care about. And that's pretty much it now, isn't it? Dalton Galley is a legit 68, currently showing up as a 69 overall. Nice. So, when it comes to how we approach the rest of this episode, we pretty much do what we planned on doing to begin with. As far as stats, I guess we'll take a look. Put it this way. We know goal scoring is going to be awful. Goals against is going to be extremely high. It's not going to be as bad as it had been previously. Of course, Dalton Prout, minus 43, is the worst on the team. As far as point totals go, you can pause it now and take a look on your own time. Same goes with goaltending stats. As far as the league-wide scoring goes, we'll at least take a look. And there you go. There's the top of the list. Brock Besser in 4th for league-wide scoring. And Connor McDavid actually managed to put up points. Imagine that. So let's go ahead and sim through the rest of the regular season. We'll get to the end of the playoffs. I said the rest of the regular season. Let's sim to the end of the postseason. We'll look at the awards. We'll get to the draft and the re-sign phase. And hopefully all goes well for this team, although probably not. Really, if you think about it, probably not. I'm at least not as confident as I was a couple of minutes ago when the locker room chemistry was on the rise. Now that it's not, to say that I'm concerned is an understatement. But we'll see what happens, right? Yeah, I can't I can't move forward with the fake positivity. I am so concerned about this series and whether or not we're going to be able to make it work. Very much concerned, but we're still putting forth our best effort, is the point. Let's scout the SHL for a week. This might actually be the most tedious part of the episode, where we're going to have to change the scouting on a weekly basis, but it makes sense. Maybe, just maybe, our scout will actually be able to find somebody. Now, of course, the problem here is that sometimes you can scout a place for a week and have scouted a guy 2 or 3 times and had exact potential. Other times, you can have someone scouted 11 times and still not have an exact potential on them. It's just the way it works. So it is very much a crapshoot, but maybe the game will be kind to us and find us an exact potential, maybe a low elite projected in the 7th round that we can end up taking to really put a positive kind of end to this upcoming draft. So let's see, we'll move over. We'll go to Russia next, actually. I was thinking we'll go to Germany, we'll go to Russia next. Of course, like I said, this whole week-by-week deal takes a little bit of time. Hopefully it ends up being worth it in some way. We're going to get word on who won the cup, and it is the Arizona Coyotes. Holy hell, it only took a fantasy draft and a whole lot of things to go right, like a division rival being terrible and undergoing the Goon squad experiment to make it work for the Coyotes. We'll take a look at the playoff tree here. They beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games in the Cup final. Toronto also beat Detroit in the Eastern Conference final to get there. I didn't mean to look at team stats for the playoffs. I wanted to look at player stats so we could see what the Coyotes look like. And they have Nolan Patrick, Andre Palat, Derek Stepa, Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, Robbie Fabry. On defense, Dumba, Pietrangelo, Jason Garrison is down here, Nikita Zaitsev, Samuel Girard. The goaltender was Matt Murray, 943 save percentage. He showed up, and that is what can happen in this game, and in real life, really, when Matt Murray is on top of his game. So the Preds won in year 1, Vegas in year 2, and the Arizona Coyotes in year 3. Western dominance so far. Connor McDavid wins the Art Ross. He takes it away from Evgeny Malkin. He also won the Hart. Jake Muzzin won the Norris. Okay. Connor McDavid, the Lady Byng. Oscar Lindblom, at least I think it's Oscar, wins the Calder. Matt Murray, the Conn Smythe. The Vezina to Corey Schneider for the 2nd consecutive year. Yeah, that's the right way to phrase it. He wins it in consecutive years. There you go. Jennings to Vasilevsky. Adam McQuaid wins the Yeah, You're Kinda Bad award. At least in NHL 18. In real life, it has more meaning. He wins the Masterton. McDavid also wins the Selke, the Lindsay, and the Rocket Richard. So Connor McDavid's pretty good, apparently. And then as far as AHL awards, just so you guys can get a look, I know there were actually some intriguing winners there. But we have more important matters to attend to. So let's get to the draft, shall we? We know there are a couple of power forwards projected for the first round. So even if we lose the lottery, which, let's be honest, we probably will, even if we lose the lottery, we'll be all right. Let's just go with extra league of forwards for the rest of the time here. 25% locker room chemistry. That is devastating. And indeed, we lost the lottery. We end up with the 4th overall pick for the 2nd time in 3 seasons now. Tremendous. As far as retired players go, we don't lose anybody, which is hard to believe. Brad Thiessen is the only goalie to retire. For forwards, Marian Hossa, the Sedins, Marian Gaborik, Rabada, Brian Gianna. Team USA captain, Brian Gianna. And that was pretty much it. We'll edit the trade block, as always, to avoid hopefully getting spammed with offers. It would be nice if it was like, hey, do you want us to set up the trade block based on what we think you need? And then you can hit yes or no. That way, I could hit no and not have to do this at every major point in time during the year. But hey, it takes 30 seconds, right? Or 35 if you hit the wrong button like I did a couple of seconds ago. But it's all well and good, is what I'm trying to say. We'll be fine. We'll make it through this. You and me together. This isn't just me. This is us. Rambling. So the draft. It is time. Despite how worried I am about that locker room chemistry number, we know we have the 4th pick. Let's see if we can get a difference maker. And, oh, son of a bitch, that was not... Oh, this was not the year to lose the lottery. Aston was medium elite, 81 overall, the top player in the draft. Holy hell, that is a swift kick to the groin. That is really the only way to phrase it now, isn't it? There is the exact elite in Randy Eves. But again, even despite someone like Darren Baumgartner being high elite, 18 years old, 6'3", we're still going to lean towards the actual power forward here. Now there's two. We know how good Clarkson is. Luke Clarkson, 6'3", 17-year-old power forward. The question is whether or not Jay Graves is going to be a higher overall. And boy, is this a risk to pass up on the exact to go for Graves, but that is exactly what I'm going to do. For the love of all that is good, don't make me regret this. 66 overall, medium top 6. How good is the other guy? As of course Eves was medium elite, 68 overall. Yes, I know what I should have done, and if this was the normal draft Gloria, we would have. Holy shit, Lafreniere was also medium elite. Damn. So 3 straight medium elites. Caldwell was a medium elite goalie. Woolley, medium top 4 defenseman, and Clarkson was a 65. So between the two power forwards, we at least took the right one in Graves. 1 overall point better. You never know, though. That could actually make a difference at some point. Potentially. We shall see. As far as scrolling through here, I'll at least do it for the first round. You had the medium elite goaltender there. I'm looking more for overall. There we go. 70 overall Retzer to the Rangers. That is a bit of a steal. Whereas Goulet at a 46, which is the lowest overall I think I've ever seen, was very much not a steal. Although Beagle is off the board, the low top 6 power forward that we saw earlier. So let's take a look here. Start of the second round. Who is available to us? That defenseman is available. Hines is available. Who else do we have here? We have this power forward and Ted Weston. Tremendous name. This power forward, Tyler McClement, we would obviously avoid. Spencer Horkoff is there. Eklund. For some reason, Swedish defensive D-men typically end up being good. I wonder if that trend continues. Grant Dimitrakos. Oh, boy. I think we have to take the risk on Hines, don't we? It's Hines or Weston. And then as far as potentials that we have scouted out, do we have any exacts is my question. We do not. So, do we go for a little bit of a need in defense with Hines? Or do we go for Weston? We don't know as much about Weston. I'm going to go for the defenseman. Steven Hines is the pick, 19 years old. Let's hope this works out relatively well. Holy shit! Well, there you go. You remember what I talked about earlier? Oh my god, are you kidding? Remember what I talked about earlier with potentially finding that steal in the 4th round? We found him in the 2nd round. Steven Hines, medium top 4, 80 overall. My god, if I passed on him, oh my god. EA gods. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh man, did we need that. Could you imagine if I passed on this guy? What a pick. 80 overall in the 2nd round. That is tremendous. Oh my god, I can't wait to see who else was here. Horkoff was a 68. Weston, in fairness, was low elite, but only a 63. I'm mainly looking for medium elites or high overalls. Kind of just looking for true steals. Although Strong is very much a steal, 78 overall. Vasyunov's actually not a bad pick for the Bruins. I cannot believe that just happened. We needed that so badly. Moroz is a solid pick for the Red Wings. That was huge for us. That's the type of steal that we needed. The question is, can we get at least one more out of this draft? Now, we have taken 2 goalies so far. And unfortunately here, as we get into the 3rd round, it doesn't look like there are any goalies worth taking. There is that Canadian there, but he's not exactly great. So the question is now, who do we end up taking? I'm going to avoid that defensive D-man. We have Torsten Bachman, or Bachman. Another defensive D-man. And Logan Sumal, 6'5", high 7th. So you'd kind of hope he's medium top 6. You have Luke Petrovic, the Italian, 6'2", two-way. But we have a grinder. Kelly Downing from Denmark. All right. That could be the pick. Medium top 4. Can I trust this, though? Gabriel Sauer. Can I trust that? I don't know if I can. And then we get into guys like Ruslan Mayorov, who is an overager, 20 years old. I'm actually really intrigued by Mayorov and Paramodine. I'm going to take the risk on the grinder, though. To see a grinder in the 3rd round makes me think that he has to have a solid potential or starting overall. I could be wrong. I'm going to go with my gut here again, though, and we're going to take Kelly Downing with this pick. Damn. Medium bottom 6, 59 overall. So, not quite a gigantic hit for us now, was it? The question is there a player that we absolutely missed out on? Petrovic would have been a bit of a disaster. So that's really the question is, did we swing and miss? It was an on-par pick, if not a slightly better pick than who everyone else is ending up with here, just in terms of overall. Sumal was also a 55. Lidstrom, solid pick for Vegas. Nothing too crazy, but a solid pick nonetheless. There we go. Lawson, the sniper, wasn't available to us, but a good selection for the San Jose Sharks. Mayorov would have been decent, 65 overall. So we took the grinder, didn't quite work out. Mayorov would have been the best pick we could have made there. He was the other guy that I was considering. So not a terrible pick, right? Could have been better, though. So we have a power forward here, Roman Hrdina. All right, we have a defensive D-man and Paul Winnick from Switzerland. Those are our only 2 options so far. Defensive D-man Franklin Burkowell. Burkowell. Calvin Bradley, 6'4", defensive D-man. And that's looking like it's pretty much it. Antropov is there. We have another grinder in Gilbert Poirier. And then another power forward, and Anthony Tabak. Tabak. I'm going with Tabak. 6'5" power forward. A couple of decent options here. I would say Tabak is a strong option. Poirier is another fairly decent option. Antropov, also not too bad. What else, or who else could we take here? Burkowell was there. And the top, Winnick and Hrdina. I'm going to go with Hrdina solely solely for the reason that his potential on the draft board at medium top 9 is the highest. And I'm just hoping that works out. He's an undersized power forward, but a power forward nonetheless. Let's hope for the best here. Hrdina, medium bottom 6, 54 overall. Not great. Thankfully, we got our steal in the 2nd round. Gonchar was a half decent pick. Anybody else? I'm not even, I know Winnick was there. That was a name that we threw out, but I'm not even looking at the names to see what they became. Unless, of course, they had decent potential. Like Burkowell would have been decent, 61 overall. So, yet again, probably should have gone with the defenseman, but even then, it wouldn't have been anything too crazy. There's the miss. There's the miss. Only a 54, but Antropov was low elite. That is now the second round in a row where I passed on the defenseman who was projected between like the third and fourth round, or the second and third round. Second time that I've passed up on one of those defensemen, and I have paid for it both times. So that is incredibly disappointing. We have Ville Lume as an option here. I mean, I know immediately you guys are going to be like, take him, he's 6'4", 207. Decent potential on the board, but we just witnessed too that decent potential on the board doesn't often mean much. We have Mike Camilleri, the Danish Mike Camilleri, huh? We have another power forward, and Ernest Reed, 6'5", an absolute monster. I didn't even check to see if there were enforcers in this draft. So that was a mistake that we'll have to fix here in a second. Tuomo Kallio was there. Kallio or Reed? Probably my favorite now. Ricard Toskala, 20 years old, as an overager. There might be a decent chance of him being decent. Pavel Butsayev, the Russian grinder. And hey, we have an enforcer here. Fit the 6th round. We know who we're taking. I'm glad I brought that up. No doubt, if he's ranked this highly as well, there's a decent chance of him being alright. Josh Chorney, 6'2", 211. The 18-year-old enforcer from the Saginaw Spirit. There we go. The game has decided for me, and Chorney is medium bottom 6, 49 overall. So nothing too tremendous. Did we miss out on anything great? Is my question. Oh, let's see. Defensive D-man Lume. Piarala was a decent selection. Camilleri would have been a little bit of a miss. Kallio. That is now 2 low elite players that we've missed out on. Reed was decent, low top 9, 61 overall. Decent for this series, at least. But that is still unfortunate. We went for the enforcer Toskala. There's another miss, 72 overall. So we found our steal in the second round, right? But since then, we have definitely missed out on a couple of decent selections, to the point where we have to make something happen with one of these last 2 picks. We have to get somebody decent to really bring this together and to be able to say that it was at least a decent enough draft. The real question here will be whether or not there are any other enforcers in this draft. In which case, I'm hoping the answer to that is no. Not that I am 100% obligated to take an enforcer. That was just kind of a guideline that was proposed. But especially now, seeing that we need to make a solid pick here. No enforcer D-men. Knowing that we need a decent pick. There are 2 enforcer right wings. No left wings. And no centers. Alright, so we have 2 enforcers here, including this guy projected to be in the 6th round. Jesus Beta. Oh my god, really? 6'5". And then Jack Gillies, 5'11" enforcer. I almost want to take him just because he's 5'11". So let's see. Who's on the board here? Do I have a good feeling about any of the players left on the board, knowing that we need something to happen? Anything. So let's see. We have this defensive D-man and Vyacheslav Fedorov. We have paid already in this draft for not taking defensemen. We also have Mark Woolley and the Ukrainian Maxim Samsonov. All 3 could be awful. One of them could be half decent. We do have Jesus Beta. Chibrikov, Igor Chibrikov. 6'6". Shit. But there's also the enforcer. Oh, damn. Frederick Engeland. Man, there are some picks here. And you know that one of these players, at the very least, will end up being half decent. It's just, do I end up taking the right one? That's what it comes down to. We have an enforcer. He's 6'5", and his name is Jesus. Oh, I gotta do it. Let's just go for it. Jesus Beta is gonna be the guy. Let's go make that pick. Damn it. Oh, man, please. Jesus, I need you now more than ever. Please let this guy be like medium top 9, or at least a good overall. Medium bottom 650 overall. Alright, so that's about what you can expect for an enforcer. The question is, did we miss out on somebody great? Let's find out. Chibrikov was awful, so that's good to have avoided him. Woolley was also terrible. Dolan wasn't eligible to be taken by us. Engelland was half decent, we'll go with. Samsonov was alright. Holmes, low top 4, 61 overall. Zykov, medium elite. What a steal for the St. Louis Blues. Anybody else here? Anybody else that we could have potentially taken? Fedorov again. Again, another situation where I probably should have taken the defenseman. We didn't. And I am paying for that decision making now, aren't I? Anybody else? Roenick? Nope, that's it. So here we go. Our final pick of the draft. Our top 2 picks were solid, especially for this series. We really could use a steal here to bring this all together. We have this human power forward. I call it, well, human power forward. This real power forward. So we're definitely going to pass on him. Nolan Thorburn is there. The Danish picks haven't exactly worked out for us today, though. Matti Solani, 6'4", defensive D-man. Anybody else here? We got a power forward, Glenn Allison. Glenn Allison, 20-year-old American. Anybody else? Another power forward, Clifford Burrow. And then we get into undrafted territory, which scares me. There's also a guy here named Kong, Carl Kong. So, I'd say it comes down to probably Allison or Solani. Or we go off the board. Now, Solani's potential scares the hell out of me, considering it's a low AHL top 4. We never scouted him at all. You know what? I mean, I know there's still an enforcer out there, and I know he was like a smaller enforcer as well. And I know this isn't going to work out, but every time I've passed on taking a defenseman in this draft, it has come back to haunt me. So with the 7th round selection, we're going to take Matti Solani. And he's going to be probably our worst pick of this draft because that's my luck. But let's see what happens. There you go. Medium AHL top 2, 58 overall. Yikes. Yikes. And I hit the wrong button too, so we're not even going to be able to see who else was selected in the 7th round. At the very least, the top 2 picks are extremely, extremely promising. Especially for what we're looking for in this series. Now it's just, I mean, that's demoralizing though, to miss out on a couple of picks there. And now knowing that we are facing another potential disaster in this upcoming offseason, which we're over an hour for this episode, but I think we're going to try to sort this out. Let's get back on track here and go preseason to preseason from now on. So for goaltenders, I mean, Smith and Johnson have already declined. So let's just get rid of them, I guess. We'll sign Mikkola. Oh, what else can we do here? Defense, I mean, Hines is automatically our best defenseman, so that's great. All of these guys pretty much declined in overall by a very big margin. So while this could totally backfire, letting everybody go, except for Radko Gudas, because we're going to bring him back, this is exactly what I'm going to do. We're just going to clear out the team. So Radko Gudas wants a 3-year deal. He won't get that, but he will get a payday of $3.5 million if he chooses to stay. Duncan Siemens can go. Harrison Ruop can go. And everybody else can stay in the meantime. We'll also just outright sign Solani, I guess. I mean, he's obviously not that great of a player, but we'll see if he signs. Clifford and Reeves, they're both going to be let go of for now. Zanetti, we'll sign him to his entry-level deal. We'll also bring in Jesus Beta, because we're going to need a miracle here after all to get this to work out. Left wings. Matt Martin's still doing all right, so you know what? Because of that, Matt, have a nice... I'm actually going to drop this. We'll just have a nice in general. Shout out to David Vujanich. But we'll bring in we'll keep Matt Martin. We'll keep Foligno as well, just because his overall hasn't exactly plummeted yet. We'll give him a solid contract. And Delorier, his overall hasn't exactly plummeted either. So we'll sign him up to a half-decent deal if he is willing to accept. Mackenzie Stewart has to go. We're going to bring in Graves. Ross Johnston can go. We'll bring in Nolan Foote. Do I have an exact approach of how I'm thinking this is going to go? Not quite. We're just making decisions here, guys. That's it. We're just making decisions and we're going for it. So we'll bring in Downing. We'll bring in Herdina. O'Coin as well, because why not? Chorney, who was an awful selection. We'll sign him up as well. So there we go. We know we're still going to have some roster spots, so we'll be able to send out some big-time contracts in the upcoming free agency period, mainly focused on bringing in some goaltending, if anyone's willing to sign with this team. We'll have Mikkola and Justice be the starters down in the AHL. Foligno accepted, Gudas accepted, Matt Martin accepted, Delorier, Graves, and then all these rookies will sign. That's the good thing, though. The players that I actually wanted to keep who were on the team last year did, in fact, re-sign. So I feel like that'll help a little bit. But the main question is just how do we progress here? I mean, I guess we're going to kind of stay the course. I actually don't have like any contracts left. RFA is none. UFA is Cedric Paquette and David Brohl. I missed them somehow. David Brohl can go, but I will look to bring back Cedric Paquette, and we'll actually give him another fairly decent contract because we have the cap space. So there we go. And basically, actually, our only real thing that we're going to be able to do here is bring in goaltenders. And then we're basically done for as far as contract spots, because we have so many players that we ended up bringing in just as depth guys that are still under contract because we signed them to entry-level deals, unless I wanted to buy out a couple of contracts, which, would that be worth it? The answer might actually be yes. So for goaltenders, I only have room for one goalie anyway, actually. You know what? If I were to buy out CC's contract, I mean, obviously the buyout cost is nothing. So you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to buy out Duchesne as well. And we'll use those extra spots to kind of optimize the goaltending. And from there, I mean, we'll figure it out. That's the only thing I can say. From there, we'll figure it out. We'll optimize the goaltending, and then we'll bring in whoever we can that might actually be half decent, even though we only got $15 million left in salary at this point. We'll bring in whoever we can. It's certainly a different challenge than what I was expecting. So far, we are still afloat, so to speak. We are still on track as far as bringing in, the guys that we've drafted. So it's not an outright disaster. Goaltending. Do we send an offer out to Corey Crawford? I'm going to say yes. Yeah, I think we have to. Right? Bring in Crawford. Maybe someone like Neuwirth or Hutchinson. Maybe even Ryan Miller this time. Anton Hadobin, Aaron Dell. And then that's what I'm going to do. Oh, so let's send an offer out. Not that I planned on having this be a thing. Let's send an offer out to Corey Crawford. How many games can Crawford possibly steal us? I don't think the answer is a ton. So it's worth it. I'm also going to bring in Anton Khudobin because I'm a terribly biased Bruins fan. We'll sign Dobby for 2.5. And now we need the highest rated goalie who has the role of other, who will be our 5th string goaltender that gets called up from the AHL in case of injury. And that is going to be Casimir Kaskisuo. No, it's not, because entry-level deal. That will be Troy Grosenick. Indeed. There we go. So we'll try to bring in Troy Grosenick. And that is pretty much all we're going to be able to do. I mean, unless I actually do have the space to sign one other player. Boy, don't I hate menu lag. I hit over twice, but, you know, what can you do? There we go. Actually, I'll just hit sim the next season. We'll get to the answer a bit more quickly. From Crawford, who has accepted, as has Khudobin. Grosenick, though, has rejected because he would much rather just sit at home and not play professional hockey. To each their own, I do suppose. So let's go ahead and look for that 5th string goaltender yet again. It's not going to be Kaskisuo or Grosenick. Let's go for Ken Appleby. And whenever people are like, oh, why'd you call Kelly Appleby Ken? Because that's why. When I see the name Appleby, I think of Ken Appleby. Anyway, entry-level deal? Shit. Johansson? Entry-level deal? Good. Let's sign you up to a $925K deal. We'll try to get the answer from him. And then if we have the roster spots, which we might, it's going to be close. If we have the roster spots, we'll send an offer out to somebody. And again, Johansson has declined. Really? It's just, that's so dumb. Like, oh, your locker room chemistry is, it's just a toxic environment to play in. People still go to Montreal. You can't tell me that's not a toxic environment with the media there. That's not taking a shot at the Habs. That's taking a shot at the media in Montreal. People still play there. So what the hell? God damn. Scott Wedgwood. Please? No, entry-level deal. What the hell? Vitek Vanasek? Nope. Shit. You know what? Whatever. Let's go back to Casimir Kaskisuo. Whoa. There we go. Hopefully you sign and make my life easier. Yes. For the record, I do have an album coming out. Release date is pending, as Kaskisuo accepted. But yes, you will sooner rather than later be able to enjoy the lovely sound, tones, and stylings of my incredible voice. So let's take a look at physical players again here. We at least want someone who still kind of fits the theme. Of course, Reeves, Clifford, Brendan Dillon. That is more like it. We got $9 million in cap space. Let's send you like a $6 million deal, or at least close to it. There you go, as close to it as you can get, actually. We'll see if he can accept. I am not entirely sure he'll be able to. I don't know if we have enough contract spots. Good. No, we did sign. Sweet. How many contract spots do we have then? Because it's a little bit weird when you have players that are going to junior in the AHL. It can be a little bit weird. By the way, the fact that we're like an hour and 10 minutes into this, if not more, and I haven't lost power yet, is incredible. 48 contracts. All right, so I think any other offer that I send out now will probably be declined. So let's just move forward. We'll set up the team for next season, and then we'll call it an episode, despite the fact that we're still in a fairly similar spot. We did get a great steal in the draft that makes up for losing the lottery. The rest of the draft was quite subpar, as if I'm going to trade Zach Bogosian for a second-round pick. Boy, Mark Bergevin really has lost his mind, hasn't he? Hey, we want to trade Max Pacioretty when he's on the biggest slump or one of the biggest slumps of his career. We want to get someone who has more trade value and name value than he does. Oh, Montreal. I just adore the circus known as Montreal. Montreal fans, because I know we got some Habs fans that watch the videos, of course. Don't know if I love you guys, but I appreciate the support. I'm just kidding. I don't love you at all. Anyway, What do you think of the circus going on in Montreal right now? Are you afraid for your team's future with Marc Bergevin at the helm? Or are you just beyond the point of no return and delusional and you're not concerned? Let me know. Speaking of delusional, I have certainly reached that point. So goaltenders, we have Crawford and Khudobin. Yes, I saw Hines improved. The defense is set. We'll keep Hughes there. Forwards, we're going to have two extra. Would Graves be... All right, so Graves would be sent down to junior, so we're going to send down Dalton Smith. And I think we're pretty much good to go. I could call up Connor Roberts, or I could have him play in the AHL. Tough choice. You know what? Let's just see what the team would look like if I call up as many people as I can. So Tokarski is ours. Correct. Tokarski is ours. Who else is an Anaheim pick? I think he's the last one. He's not. We have Kelly Downing as well. So let's just swap them. I mean, it's preseason, so no one's going to lose morale because of this. Unless it has to do with captaincy. Then we got Reggie Chung. Oh boy, we got a lot of people now, don't we? O'Coin and Herdina. So how close are we to being able to field a roster of just our players? And actually, we're right there. So if I just send down Gilmore, which, you know, we're good. So the question is, and actually I'll leave this up to you guys, do we play the better of our prospects? Or maybe at the very least send like Downing. I don't know. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. Do we play our prospects in the AHL? Or do we just say, fuck it, play them at the NHL level, hope they don't expect anything to begin with, and as a result don't get aggravated that we do nothing but lose? Let me know what approach you think we should take. At the very least, we'll take a look at what the lines will be if we keep it with the best team possible. And to do that, we want to make sure that our best players, a combination of our best players and our youngest players are still getting time. So it would probably be Martin, Paquette, Foligno, Delorier, McDonald, and Abraham Zanetti. That is a 1-2 punch right there. Abraham Zanetti's already turned into quite the beast. I mean, we could play Foote, McDonald, and Zanetti together. And even so, Jay Graves, who we just took with the 4th overall pick, is kind of the odd man out there. So we could go with a couple of different combinations. But I'm thinking, you know, that might be what the team looks like to start. I mean, obviously mid-season we'll start going best lines. We have Hines with Dillon, and Dalton Galley is still in the lineup, 22 years old now. Definitely starting to get concerned that he has peaked. And then when it comes to the AHL, obviously we'll take out Casimir Kasky-Swo. We'll put in Mikola as the backup. And then on defense, do we have anybody that can replace Pierre-Olivier Demers? We have Solani and Ball. Perfect. All right, so we'll bring in Solani. And then we'll take out Eriksson for Kevin Ball. So we have, or could have, Alcock with Vainio, Ball with Solani, and then these two, Kuka, or Kauka, and Hus on defense. Right. Because as it is, I am out of roster spots. I mean, unless I sit here, and you know what, to be honest, as I mentioned, trading isn't typically a factor in this series until very far down the road. But it might make sense to try and get rid of some of our garbage to clear out roster spots for players that can make both teams better, and as a result, we can have a bit better of a situation, if you get what I'm saying. So, Hus, for example, could go. Hughes, Eriksson, Castonguay, and Demers. I'd also probably look at trading Austin. So let's see if I can move these players out just to anywhere to free up these spots. I'll try to get a 7th round pick back. So I'm not looking to win the trade. I'm just looking to free up spots. And it is possible So that is exactly what I'm going to do. So, what am I going to do here? That's right, I traded a defenseman that was on the team at the moment, so we'll call up Alcock just for now. And then, I mean, if I sign 3 more defensemen, Austin, Galley, and Alcock can all be sent down to the AHL. So at the very least, let's look for 3, maybe 4. I'm thinking 4 more defensemen that are at least half decent, that can improve both of these teams, that still fit the bill for physical players. So I don't want to sign this guy because we know he's going to get better. Ben Sherratt, we could look to bring him back if he's willing to sign. Let's just offer him what he wants. We'll avoid Press and Riley Bruce for now. We'll avoid Jared Tenorti. But we do have Luke Shen that we could bring back. And Dalton Proud or Jared Cowan. Let's bring in Jared Cowan this time. So we could bring in those 3. And then to be honest, I am going to send an offer to Robin Press. Entry-level deal, no thank you then. Jared Tenorti. Try to sign him to a max contract. So we'll see if those 4 accept. If they do, we'll continue to try and make changes on the offensive side of things. So let's clear out the trade block here. This is going to be a little bit of an extended episode, but hey, consider it my apology for, missing a couple of days. And if you're watching this in a playlist after the fact, then hey, it's just even more. More stuff happened. And if you are watching this in a playlist after the fact, let me know down in the comments. I'm always intrigued to see how many people just binge watch a series once it's over, or to catch up, and who watches on a semi day-to-day basis. Let's pay attention to the draft class though really quick before we move forward any days. Let's look for an enforcer, although clearly we have 2 targets in this upcoming draft: Kirk Pusher or Marcus Brodin. One of those 2 has to be our pick as a backup option. Reginald Pettinger, one of the best names I think I've ever seen, could also be an option. So we want to double check for enforcers really quickly, because I made that mistake last season and we didn't get to look until the point where we actually had to select an enforcer. Or we didn't have to, but we chose to. Oh boy, do we have enforcers, all projected to be undrafted. We have Jay Fowler, Duke Campbell. I mean, an enforcer named Duke, that is perfect. And then Colton Garnett, who's 6'5", more of your stereotypical enforcer. Right wings, we have Kurt Thornton and Jack Gillies. All right, interesting that we have quite a few enforcers this time out. Left wings, oh my god, though, Neil Green. 2nd to 3rd round. I know Spencer McIntosh is there. Neil Green, guys, could be the chosen one. Don't let me forget Neil Green. He's going to be our 2nd round draft pick. That is decided. Maybe 3rd at worst. But Neil Green will absolutely be our pick. So as far as scouting goes, I'm trying to think of how we want to approach it this season. Because it wasn't... the last strategy wasn't very successful in terms of finding us steals in the later rounds. So I'm going to go just 2 weeks for forwards. I could go 2 weeks for each forward and defensive group, and then like 1 week for goaltenders. Let me know how you would scout it out this season. I know a lot of you would kind of like look at like, oh, here are the players you need or whatever, and you would do it that way as Jared Tenorti signs. But still, let me know what approach you would take. Cowan, Sherratt, and Shen. All right, cool. They all accepted. So that will improve the team at least slightly at the NHL and the AHL level. So Austin, Galley, and Alcock will be sent down for that trio. Right. So how many roster spots do I have now? The defense is sorted. The fact that Hines is a top 4 defenseman already is insane. Like I said, I could sign. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, we're good. We're good as far as AHL defense goes now as well. So it's just a matter of bringing in forwards. Of course, we have quite a few forwards that we could get rid of. So this could end up being fairly interesting. So let's go ahead and try to cycle out these players now as well, since we're... I mean, here's the problem, though. We signed these players because we couldn't sign the majority of free agents. At the moment, we've actually been able to sign some free agents, so that's been nice. Dalton Smith, do we keep you? I'm going to say no. Well, he's not terrible. But like this guy here, like Gothals, like he's got to go. Michaud can go. Legion, Gerard, and Dame or Dame can go. Is there a team where I can send them all to? Oh, beautiful, Colorado. I know I clicked on Chicago. Colorado, you have plenty of roster spots. Let's pick up an extra 7th rounder. Like I said, this would typically, if you watch the original Draft Goal, you know that eventually I'd start trading players 1 for 1. So, for example, 7 years from now, if we make it this far in that series, if I had a player that I couldn't use, but I don't just want to get rid of for, just let him walk, I can trade them for the best possible draft pick 1 for 1. So, if he's not worth a second, but I can trade him 1 for 1 for a third, I do that rather than doing a trade like this, where we just get rid of all of our garbage at once, and get the best pick possible. That's why I'm going for a 7th rounder. So we will have some extra picks as, to be honest, players are happy about me getting rid of the dead weight. Maybe we're on to something here. I completely forgot the point that I was making before that, and I apologize. Do I want to get rid of Ben Thompson? I think I'll keep him. I'll keep him and Dalton Smith. I could keep Kusal, too. I don't know. Maybe I could bring in better players than those two, I'm sure. We'll hold on to him for now, I guess. Chorney is ours. Colton Hargrove is fine. Hardina, Downing, Delorier. Okay, and then we start getting into the players that are all right. So we'll get rid of these 4. Might be able to pick up Colorado's 7th round pick next year. So the point of doing this, like I mentioned, is so that we can bring in some extra players. But also we're not getting anything crazy back. Like, sure, we do have an outside chance, I suppose, at being able to bring in, say, a 7th, like a steal. Like, maybe we'll get lucky on one of those picks. But it's highly doubtful. So let's bring in some better forwards now. And we're looking at... Kolsar is going to improve, so I kind of want to avoid him. Yeah, I think I want to avoid him at a 75. Nilsson at a 73 is all right, I guess. Not very much fighting skill. I think we had him before, though. But I'm still looking for those better players. Here we go. John Stevens. And Dominic Turgeon. Wonder how much better Turgeon's going to get, but you know what? We're still going to try to sign him. So a max deal for him. We'll send an offer out to Stevens as well. It's an entry-level deal, but I'll put up with it this time. Nick Paul. We'll also bring him in. So we had what? Enough for like 12 contracts or something like that? Something crazy. So let's bring in, what would that be? Tony Nato? Tony Nato, sure. Bring him in. Cal Clutterbuck, we tried to sign him last year. We'll see if he accepts a couple $1 million this time out. Anybody else here who's half decent? Tyler Grauvach. We'll look to bring him in. Anybody else? Martin Hansel. You know what? I'm going to do it. We have to raise up that locker room chemistry somehow. I have, accepted defeat that I can't run this series is, exactly as I did the original series, which is fine. That was the point of having Goon Squad as a theme. We didn't want an exact replica, or at least I didn't. I wanted a new a challenge. I wanted a different approach, and that is certainly what I've been getting. Is it more than I've bargained for? Perhaps. But we're still making a go for it. We'll sign Sutter as well. If he's willing to accept. There's no guarantee. Basically, I'm sending out as many offers as I can. And whoever accepts, cool. And if you don't accept in time, then too bad. Dale Weiss. Didn't think I'd want you all on my teams, but you kind of fit the bill. We'll also sign Hathaway here. And anybody else? Adam Hawalka. And that should be good. Maybe send an offer to Holtz as well. Alright, so like I said, I think we had like 12 spots. Emerson Edom. And you know, we're good. We're good. So we'll see who accepts. Like I said, it will improve both the NHL and the AHL squads, which is the goal. Stevens already accepted. Hawalka accepted. Bolesky, Grauvach have accepted. Edom or Edom, Paul, Holtz. Oh yeah, everybody, basically. Except for Clutterbuck, Brower, Weiss, Sutter. Alright, so some of the better guys, including Martin Hansel, didn't get back to me in time, but still, the overall goal has been accomplished of improving this team. So let's take a look now. So like all of these fourth line guys, it's probably worth calling them up. So we'll send down Thompson. I could send Nolan Foote and Graves back to junior. All right, so you know what? Oh, man. I think that is the right approach, though. Send them back to junior for this season. I mean, they did improve somewhat. And it's still worth having the best rosters we possibly can. So I'm going to send these three down. Graves, at the very least, goes back to junior. Foote does not. Let's take a look. Paul still needs to be called up. And let's see, it doesn't really matter for whom. Although, I think, nope, neither of them can be sent back down to junior at this point. Is there anybody else? I mean, there are a couple more 76s, so we might as well go for it. And we'll send down this trio. And Zanetti and McDonald, while it might be worth giving them, you know, NHL time, for now, let's just ice basically the best roster that we can at the NHL level. So we'll go best lines. That's what this team looks like. The only guy there that we're really concerned about is Hines. Of course, the goaltending is what it is. And now the AHL becomes a little bit more interesting, where we are still going to optimize it with our two goaltenders. But then the defense. We'll take out this Finnish dude for Ball, and Solani needs to make it in as well. So we'll bring in Kevin Ball. And Brady Austin's under contract. This guy isn't. So we'll bring in Solani for him. Can't really roll with the lefty-righty dynamic. Solani's the only righty. So let's go top pairing. And then best potential, which isn't really a factor. So we'll go best overall. So we'll have Galley and Alcock. Galley has a better shot. Ball and Solani. And we'll keep Solani on the right. There we go. So 4 prospects are in on defense at the moment. And then on offense, Koivisto. Who can we take you out for? Nolan Foote. That's a fairly good answer. Is there anyone else here who isn't under contract? No. So now we're at the point where certain players will have to sit, and I'm sure that will cause some issues because Tokarski needs to get into the lineup. Roberts stays, obviously. So Colton Hargrove, I'm sorry, I love you, but Auger is still a friggin' giant. And to be honest, he's going to be sitting too. So let's see, as far as draft picks go, Kelly Downing needs to make it into the lineup. See, now I thought more of these guys would actually be CHL eligible. They're not. So we are going to have quite a few guys just kind of sitting around doing nothing, which isn't ideal. Reggie Chung makes it into the lineup. We're going to take out Gilmore for Herdina, I think was the next guy in order. O'Coin is also ours too. All right, so we have 3 more players that we need to get into the lineup. So this idea of mine has backfired a little bit, just from the standpoint of how many players are going to be healthy scratches and that are probably going to be pissed about it. You know, guys like Michael Latta. But that's all right. We'll still have Lucia and Holtz in the lineup, but everybody else is going to be a prospect, which is, you know, kind of nice that we're already at that point. We have taken quite a few forwards, though, of course. So Zanetti at low elite is probably our best prospect. It's him and Foote. We'll go with Zanetti. And then obviously the second line will be McDonald, Roberts, and Foote. Oh, let's see. Best potentials. We'll have to go highest overalls. All right, so I think we're looking all right here. Although Roberts does have to play center. We'll just keep McDonald on the right. I mean, this second line here could be the future of this team. And we have Tokarski, Downing, and Shung. Who's the better center? It's Tokarski, a little bit better defensively. And we don't have a righty there as well, but we do have a designated right wing. So we'll have O'Coin, Herdina, and Beta. Good old Jesus Beta. And we're good. This is what the team is going to look like heading into this year. Like I said, we do have some scratched players that it might be best for locker room chemistry to not have them be scratched. The NHL is, I mean, it's the best team that we've iced. I mean, they're still going to be garbage. The only guy that we're worried about there is Stephen Haynes. I would say the first overall pick is still very much secured, or at least the odds of having the best first overall pick is very much secured. We're at 59 locker room chemistry, which is the highest it's been. So I would say we're on track. It's just, can this team kind of put together some wins and not have that number collapse at the end of the season? But even if it does, we know we can recover from that. As you guys get a look at the trade values, Nolan Foote is definitely the future of this team, but we do have some solid prospects in the system right now. It's a promising start. It's not a tremendous start like we had with Rebuilding Hockeytown, but it may still work. It may still work. So guys, that'll do it for this little bit of a marathon episode of Draft to Glory Goon Squad. I hope you did enjoy. As always, I look forward to your feedback, suggestions, whatever else in the comments section below. I haven't been able to get back to a ton of you. I do look at the comments for every video, though. If I don't have time to get back to you all, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get better at that. I used to be able to get back to everybody, and very quickly I hit that point where it's like, shit, I don't really have as much time to do that as I wanted to, or as I used to. You get the point. As always, you know what you can do to support the video and the channel, beyond just, of course, watching the video in the first place, which I thank you for. Links are in the description to my Twitter and Twitch. Give me a follow on both of those platforms if you have not already done so. And until next time, guys, have a good one. Take it easy. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.